All right, we're back on the record in FECR 153477. Welcome back, jurors. So we left off. So Gomet was testifying, and Mr. Banks, you can continue your examination. Maybe you're still under oath. You can go ahead. I'm sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your Honor, if we could, yesterday we were the part of examination where we were publishing some photos. If I could have that screen back.
We need the... All right, publishing now. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Gomet, yesterday when we were breaking for the day, we were starting to talk about this palm print that you located on the defendant's vehicle. If I understood your testimony correctly, you noted that you did not process the entire vehicle for prints, and that was partially due to not being asked, and because we knew who the parties were in the vehicle. Is that right?
Correct.
So what about this print that's seen in 18SS caused you, or why was this one developed?
We just noticed it was a very obvious print on the side of the vehicle there, so we decided to process it and collect it.
And I think you started to describe for us, you mentioned developing it with a white powder.
Correct.
Can you explain that process to us?
Sure. So we're just going to have a brush, and we'll have a container with white powder, and we'll dip the brush in the powder and gently circle it over the print, and it'll collect on the ridge lines of a fingerprint, and then we will then put tape over that print and lift that print and put it down onto a transparency, or like a clear piece of paper.
And in 18SS, at this point, is the print developed?
That is just a photo before the white powder.
In 18TT, has the white powder been added to this print?
Yes.
And when the print is collected, are you the person who processes the print?
Once it's back at the laboratory?
I guess, do you do anything with the identification of who this print belongs to?
No.
Can you tell us what we're seeing in 18UU?
Those are items, I believe, that were found on the rear window ledge behind the back seats.
(18VV), can you tell us what we're seeing in this photograph?
That is a Walmart receipt for an OT machete.
And from this receipt, well, firstly, can you tell us where this receipt was located within the car?
I believe that was in the front seat area.
Can you tell us the date on this receipt?
It was dated February 14th, 2024 at
At
1704. Sorry.
Perfect. Out of the receipts that were located in the vehicle, were you able to determine how many separate machetes had been purchased?
I believe we thought there might have been 2, and also based on the packaging we found.
Okay. The other receipt that you found showed purchase for 2 machetes, correct?
Yes.
And this receipt shows a purchase for a 3rd machete?
Yes.
So at least 3 machetes had been purchased?
3 based on the receipts, 2 based on the packaging we found.
And this was also at Walmart?
That one, yes.
And when I say this one on 18VB was a Walmart receipt?
Yes.
18WW, can you tell us which part of the vehicle we're looking at?
That is the front driver's seat.
And in this photograph, is there something specifically that your attention was drawn to?
So I'm showing the relative position of that black handle you can see sticking out between the seat and the center console.
Will you point that out with your laser pointer up there?
Right here.
And moving to 18XX, have we then zoomed in on that handle?
Yes.
And what was that a handle to?
That was a handle to a machete that was inside a black sheath.
And the machete that was pulled from between the center console and the driver's seat, is that the machete that we're seeing in 18YY?
Yes.
(18ZZ), is that the same machete?
Yes.
Is there a reason that when you photograph items like a machete or a knife that both sides are photographed?
We just want a clear representation of the item from all different angles.
What are we seeing in 18AAA?
So in this photo, we've removed the machete from the sheath so that you can see the actual knife.
And BBB, is that the same machete but the opposite side of the blade?
Correct.
Tell us what we're looking at in 18CCC.
That was just a small stain on the very tip of the machete.
And what about that, if anything, that small stain drew your attention to it?
We were looking at the machete to see if we noticed any residue or staining on it. That was the only thing we noticed. It was a very small amount and seemed fairly insignificant. The machete was collected, but we didn't swab that area or anything because of the small size.
And what does the small size have to do with your decision on whether or not to swab that?
The size not necessarily influencing the decision, but it didn't appear to be apparent blood because it's pretty light in color. And so at the time, we just decided to collect the machete and have it in evidence, but we didn't end up submitting that particular one to the lab at the time.
18DD, can you tell us the items that are seen in this photograph, where they were recovered from within the vehicle?
All of those items were in an open compartment under the radio.
Affixed to that console area?
Yes.
And can you tell us what we're looking at in this photograph as far as items that were recovered?
In this photograph, there's a black wallet there, a receipt, that duct tape roll that's used, and a folding pocket knife are the main items of interest there.
And the item to the right of the pocket knife, would this be a black-handled pick or black-handled comb?
Yes, something like that.
And again, on the white sheet, there are words in the bottom left-hand corner that say Honda Accord compartment under radio. Is that either something you or your partner wrote on that white sheet?
Yes.
And was that also done to help you identify where these items came from when you go back and look at pictures?
Correct.
18EE, tell us what we're seeing in this photograph.
So that is a closer up view of the duct tape roll and the folding knife.
Would you agree that, well, you had an opportunity to review the DNA lab reports 2 and 3 that were also submitted as part of this case, correct?
Correct.
And to be clear, this duct tape roll that was listed in those reports, the duct tape roll that's listed in those reports, is that the roll of duct tape that was taken out of that vehicle?
Yes.
In the DNA reports, it mentions that there was blood found on that roll of duct tape. Looking at 18DDD, are you able to give us a general idea of where the blood on the roll of duct tape was?
Yes, you won't be able to see it in this photo, but it was on the inside cardboard here.
Going back to 18EE, we have a can of soda, that roll of duct tape, and a folding knife of some sort. Is this the folding knife that you referenced in your reports as a pocket knife or something to that effect?
Yes.
And on this pocket knife, was there something that drew your attention to it?
Yes, you can see some staining on the edge of the blade there, and then when we opened it up, we saw more red stains and other fluids.
Can you use your laser pointer and show us where you're seeing the red stains?
Along the edge here, and I think there might have been some on the outside too.
And that was found under the radio in the center console area.
Correct.
'18 FFF, what are we seeing in this photograph?
That is the black wallet found under the radio in the compartment.
And next to that wallet, there's a receipt from Wendy's, is that correct?
Yes.
And what was the date on that receipt?
That was dated 2/16/2024.
So to be clear, the second receipt from Walmart that showed one machete and the Wendy's receipts were not crumpled up in that mint green bag in the trunk.
No.
Were you able to identify who the wallet belonged to?
Yes, there is an ID inside of it.
And who did the ID belong to?
McKinley Louisma.
And is that what we see in States Exhibit 18 HHH?
Yes.
Were there other forms of identification as far as bank cards and such in that wallet?
Yes.
And were those also in the name of or under the name of McKinley Louisma?
Yes.
And in relation to that duct tape and that knife with Melody's blood on it, where was this wallet situated in the vehicle?
That was also in the compartment under the radio.
18 I, is this just another temporary driver's license in the defendant's name?
Yes.
And JJJ, what are we seeing here?
This is the pocket knife with the stains.
And those stains would be along the bottom, per this picture, the bottom side of that knife.
Yes.
18 KKK, what are we seeing in this photograph?
So we flipped the knife over to view the other side before opening it.
Would you agree that from this vantage point, there appears to be some sort of a clearer liquid on this side of the blood?
Yes.
And did you form any opinions as to what that substance may have been?
Can't know for sure. It could have been some sort of biological fluid, but I can't say for sure.
But it was in that condition when you located it in the defendant's vehicle?
Yes.
Tell us what's happening in 18 LLL.
So now we've opened the knife up so you can see the blade more clearly.
And in MMM?
That's the other side of the blade.
What are we seeing in 18 NNN?
So we wanted to get a photo of the length of the knife blade with a scale, and that's what you're seeing here.
In this photo we see an addition of a ruler and a zip tie. Where is this knife situated for the taking of this photograph?
So the knife has already been secured in a evidence box, and we put the scale in there with it.
Who does that, puts it in the box and secures it?
We do at the scene, my partner and I.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Ms. Gomez, I want to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit PPP. Do you recognize this box?
Yes.
And can you tell us what you recognize the box to be?
So this is a box that we've labeled pocket knife with red stains from compartment under radio in Honda. date we collected it, initials of us, and you can see our original seal here that is now broken. But
And when you say that we collected it and the date we collected it, how do you know who was the person who collected it?
so my partner, Abigail Jones, and I both have our initials on the box.
The yellow tag that's seen in the top right-hand corner of that box, can you tell us what that depicts?
So once it's submitted to the laboratory, it gets the yellow barcode for chain of custody purposes and tracking purposes.
And what is the lab number associated with this item of evidence?
This is lab item number 8.
So if lab item number 8 is referenced in the reports, whether the one authored by you or the two authored by Ms. Schneider, would lab number 8 associate with the items in this box?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state offers 18 PPP.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 18 PPP is admitted.
And Ms. Gomat, has that evidence tape been broken yet, the seal on it?
I believe it's been taped over.
Will you use the scissors next to you and break the seal for me, please? May I have permission to publish this to the jury?
You may.
And may I do that using the Elmo, Your Honor?
You may.
A couple of items are in the box with the knife. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And can you just briefly tell us what those are?
Those are swabs taken by the DNA section, the DNA analyst.
So once you submitted the knife, the analyst or criminalist that would have done the DNA testing would have left the swab she used within this box.
Yes.
And those are attached or affixed to the top lid of the box.
Yes.
And then this knife that we see, this is the knife that you took or found collected from the center console under the radio in the defendant's vehicle?
Yes.
Thank you. May I continue to republish some photos, Your Honor?
Publishing now.
I am showing you 18 GG. Can you show us, using your laser pointer, where in the vehicle these items were located?
They were all located approximately in this area.
In front of the gear shift?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Gomat, would it be fair to say that as part of the crime scene team, that your role was finding, collecting evidence?
Yes.
Did you have anything to do with any tests that were ran on the evidence that you found?
No, we do not do any of the testing of any items submitted to the laboratory.
So once you photograph, find the evidence, collect it, what do you do with it?
We will package it in evidence packaging, and at the scene, we'll decide what's going to come back with the crime scene team to the laboratory and what is going to stay with either our agent or the local agency, and then we will take those items back to the laboratory and submit them.
May I have the lights back, please? And if I understood your testimony correctly, the items that you and or your partner specifically submitted to the lab were seen on your report marked one through 10, is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
May I publish 18A again, Your Honor? And the lights can stay on for this.
A is published.
So the items shown under the crime scene report section of your report.
Yes.
The items that you and your teammate opted not to send directly to the lab, can you explain to us what happens to those items?
So they are stored at the, I think in this case it was stored at Marion Police Department in their evidence room, and they keep those secure until the time that they either decide to submit more items or not, but they'll stay in the evidence room forever.
Is that a typical procedure that not everything collected in a case is submitted at one time?
Yes, especially from a crime scene, because you don't know what's going to be relevant, so you usually collect more than you end up submitting, just so that in the future, if that becomes a relevant item, then it can be submitted.
Prior to coming into court today, did you have an opportunity to review what were labeled under the same case number as your report, reports number 2 and reports number 3 that were authored by Carly Schneider?
Yes.
And if, I'm going to show you those as well, what were previously marked as Exhibits 19. I lost those, Judge. They're already admitted. From where you're seated.
And this is 19A. Just
Yes,
so
it
we're
is,
clear.
Your Honor. Permission to proceed? Okay. Where you're seated, are you able to see 19A?
Yes.
And I just want to go through some of the items that are listed to confirm whether or not they were items that were submitted that were found within the defendant's vehicle.
Okay.
Looking at the first group of lab numbers, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, were those items that you submitted to the lab?
Yes.
Were there from this second group any items that you submitted?
No.
Then moving on to the third group of items that were submitted March 7th of 2024, are there items in that group that were located within the vehicle that were submitted for analysis?
Yes, there's 3 items that were submitted later, lab numbers 24, 25, and 26.
And just to remind us, lab number 24 is what?
The pink Hey Dude shoes.
And those pink Hey Dude shoes, were they located within that mint green bag found in the defendant's trunk?
Yes.
What else was, you said 25?
Yes.
And remind us what lab 25 was?
Those are black capri pants also found in the mint green bag of the Honda trunk.
And lab item 26?
The multicolor cell phone case found in the mint green bag in the Honda trunk.
Moving to the first page of Report 3 within the same exhibit, are there items listed in the itemized list of items that were submitted to the lab from the investigating agency that you collected from within the vehicle?
Yes.
And can you tell us which ones those were?
Lab item number 31
And what's lab item 31?
is the white watch band with red stains.
And where in the vehicle did you find that?
That was also in the mint green bag in the trunk.
Any others?
Yes. Lab item number 33, the machete in the black sheath found between the front driver's seat and the center console.
And any other items?
Yes. Item number 35, the black gloves with stains found in the mint green bag in the Honda trunk.
And were those Ozark Trail gloves? Or were
No.
those, go ahead, or were those other gloves
Yes, just a black pair of gloves.
that also had stains?
Yes, we just noted stains because it was hard to tell if it was a colored stain or not.
Because the gloves were black.
Yes.
Anything else?
The last item was number 38, the used roll of duct tape found in the compartment under the radio in the front seat of the car.
Thank you. And just to clarify, regarding the machete that was in the black sheath found between the center console and the driver's side or driver's seat, you identified that as lab 33?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier, when you were testifying, I was asking you some questions about locating blood within the passenger's compartment. And if I understood you correctly, you noted that that there was some blood, but it was near the center console.
If I recall correctly, yes.
Was that blood on items, or was it on the console itself?
I think most of it was on the items. I don't recall specifically if there was anything on the console.
And according to your report, other than those items that were in the center console area, there was no other blood located in the car, in the passenger's compartment of the car?
Not to my knowledge, no.
The reports 2 and 3 were the DNA reports, correct?
Yes.
And they demonstrated the DNA analysis for the items listed, including the items that you recovered from the defendant's vehicle.
Yes.
I don't have any additional questions, Your Honor.
Cross?
Yes, thank you. Briefly, Your Honor. Your Honor, could you publish Exhibit 18NN?
Ms. Letter, can you help me out there?
I sure can, Judge. 2 N's, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
All right, 18NN is published.
Ms. Gomat, based on your markings on the sheet, these appear to be the items collected from the console of the vehicle which was searched, correct?
Yes.
And I believe you indicated that none of these items were collected, is that correct? Just photographed?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay, and more specifically to the point, whether anything was collected from here or not, there's no contraband in this photo, is that correct?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And could we also publish Exhibit 18DDD?
18DDD is published.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Gomat, I'm essentially going to ask you the same question of this photo. Whether or not these items were collected, there's no contraband in this photo, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor, may we approach?
You may. My understanding is that council's going to ask a clarifying question.
Yes.
Withdraw the previous question. Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Gomat, my question is there any drug paraphernalia in this photo?
Not to my knowledge. I don't recall what the blue liquid was at this time, but otherwise, no.
Should I zoom on it? Could we just zoom the photo of it? If there had been any illegal drugs or drug paraphernalia in the car, those would have been seized, correct?
If they were on the warrant, yes.
Based on your recollection, there was nothing like that in this search?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I don't have any further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect.
Ms. Gomat, just to be clear, on the top of this blue liquid, it says something about being for a body, right?
I took your
Oh,
photo down. Do you want to back up?
sorry, Judge, yes, please.
Yes, it appears to say that, yeah.
Probably some sort of body oil or body spray.
Yes.
Okay, no one has drawn your attention to this as anything drug-related?
No.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any additional cross?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much.
I do too, I just use a different color. You bring them. Thank you.
The state can call up the next witness.
State calls Justin Prince.